Welcome to a deep dive into braiding textile technicians. Ever picture yourself creating those intricate patterns? You know, the ones you see on like high-performance fabrics. Today, we're going beyond the surface to give you the insider tips to nail that interview. Expert speaker, ready to weave this knowledge together.
Absolutely. It's a field with, honestly, a surprising amount of opportunity out there, and we're going to make sure you're prepped to stand out.
Okay, so before we jump into the hot seat, the interview hot seat, let's set the scene. Our career guide paints this picture of a braiding textile technician as someone who's not just working with fabric, but engineering it for strength, for precision. Think aerospace, automotive, even high fashion. What really struck me is the guide's emphasis on the growing demand for this role.
Yeah, it's true. As more and more industries are discovering just how versatile braided textiles are, the demand for skilled technicians, it's skyrocketing. And you know what that means? More competition for those, coveted positions.
Right, got to stand out.
But don't worry, that's where our deep dive comes in.
It's exactly arming you with the knowledge and strategies to rise above.
Now, the career guide mentions this isn't your typical desk job.
Right.
You're on the manufacturing floor working with heavy machinery. You've got the whirring of equipment, maybe a bit of dust in the air, that sort of thing. Does the guide go into detail about what someone should actually expect day to day?
It does, and it's smart to be aware of this, not just for yourself, but to show the interviewer, right, that you've done your homework. The guide highlights the potential exposure to noise, to dust, even chemicals.
Yeah.
Those are used in treating textiles.
Right. Got to be prepared for that.
And safety is a big, big deal in this field. So being able to speak to those protocols intelligently, that's a major plus.
So understanding the work environment is crucial.
Yeah.
And it's something that interviewers might just ask about to see if you've done that research. Oh, absolutely. Now you might be thinking, okay, where can I go from here? Well, the career guide outlines these three clear stages. Entry level, junior technician, and then senior technician. It's like leveling up in a video game, right?
I like that.
Each stage comes with, of course, more responsibility, more intricate projects, and of course, a higher earning potential.
Who doesn't love that? And speaking of leveling up, RoleCatcher's AI could give you a real edge here. Imagine just plugging in your experience level and seeing this tailored list of skills you should be highlighting for each stage. It's like having a career strategist right in your back pocket.
It's all about presenting yourself strategically. Now, let's get down to brass tacks, acing that interview. We've got our trusty interview guide packed with insider tips on how to approach those make or break questions. Are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely, let's do it. The first question is straightforward. What experience do you have in braiding textile manufacturing? Now, some listening might have tons of experience, others maybe not as much. What's the key takeaway here, expert speaker?
It's all about showcasing that relevant experience, even if it's not, a direct match. So, did you work with machinery in a previous role? Maybe you were part of a team in a fast-paced production environment. Highlight those transferable skills.
So it's about connecting the dots for them. Don't assume they'll just see how your past experience translates.
Exactly. Now, here's where RoleCatcher can really up your game. Imagine typing in your past roles and having the AI pull out those keywords that would resonate with, a braiding textile technician hiring manager. It's like having your resume rewritten by someone who knows the industry inside and out.
Talk about a competitive edge. Okay, the next question in the interview guide is a bit more technical. What is your understanding of the different types of braiding techniques used in textile manufacturing? This feels like one where some pre-interview studying is key.
You are absolutely right. This question separates those who've done their homework from those who haven't. The guide actually provides a really, really helpful breakdown of common braiding techniques. Familiarize yourself with those and be prepared to explain, the differences between, say, a flat braid and a round braid.
And don't just memorize definitions. The insight section of our interview guide mentions that interviewers are looking for candidates who can connect those techniques to real-world applications.
Exactly. For example, you could say, I understand that round braiding is often used for ropes and hoses because of its strength and flexibility, while flat braiding is more commonly used for, let's say, ribbons and trims because of its decorative appeal. See the difference?
Night and day. Now, I'm curious, from your experience, what are some common follow-up questions interviewers might ask in this area?
Oh, they'll definitely want to test your depth. So be prepared. They might ask about specific challenges you've encountered with certain techniques or scenarios where you had to adapt your approach based on the material or the desired outcome.
So it's about showcasing your ability to think critically and Apply those techniques in those real-world situations.
Exactly. Now imagine practicing your answers to these questions with RoleCatcher. You could even try, different phrasings, and the AI will analyze your responses and give you feedback on, clarity, conciseness. It's like having a personal editor for your interview prep.
Okay, on to the next challenge from our interview guide. Can you explain how you would troubleshoot a braiding machine that is not producing the desired output? Oh, this one feels like it could make or break an interview. Where do we even start?
This is where your problem-solving skills take center stage.
Okay.
Don't panic if you don't have all the answers memorized. The key is to demonstrate a logical thought process.
The guide's approach section emphasizes the importance of walking the interviewer through your steps.
Precisely. Start by explaining how you would identify the problem. Would you check the machine's settings, inspect the yarn tension, consult the machine's manual? By outlining your approach, you're demonstrating those analytical skills even if you don't have a ready-made solution.
And that's so key. It's about showing them you can think on your feet and troubleshoot effectively. Any advice on how to handle follow-up questions in this area?
They might throw in a curveball by describing a specific problem and asking how you diagnose it. Be prepared to think on your toes.
Now, RoleCatcher can't predict every curveball, but I bet its AI feedback could help you structure your responses in a way that just exudes that calm, problem-solving energy, even under pressure.
You're right. That confidence can make all the difference. Okay, let's move on to question number 4 from our interview guide. How do you ensure that braided textiles meet quality standards?
This feels like another one where a structured response is key.
Yeah.
What's your take on the best way to approach this, expert speaker?
It's all about demonstrating your commitment to, precision. The guide highlights the importance of mentioning specific quality control methods. Are you familiar with using calipers to measure dimensions? Have you conducted tensile strength tests?
And don't just name drop those methods. Explain how you've used them in the past and what they tell you about the quality of the textile.
Exactly. Show them you're not just going through the motions, you're genuinely invested in delivering top-notch work.
And I imagine RoleCatcher could help you, refine your language here, right? Making sure you're using that industry terminology to really impress those hiring managers.
Absolutely. It's like having a textile expert proofreading your every word. Okay, ready to tackle the next question.
Bring it on. What does our interview guide have in store for us next?
Question number 5 dives right into the heart of the job, right into it. Can you explain how you would set up a braiding machine for a new production run? This is where you prove you're not just talk, you've got that hands-on experience.
I'm picturing those massive machines, all those intricate parts. It's not as simple as hitting start, right?
Not at all. This is where you demonstrate, your mastery of the machine. The interview guide's sample response section, it provides a really solid framework for your answer. Walk them through the key steps. Selecting the right yarn or thread, adjusting those tension settings, inputting the braiding pattern, be detailed and specific.
And don't forget to showcase your understanding of how all those settings impact that final product.
Precisely. Now, let's say you're prepping for this exact question with RoleCatcher. You've inputted your initial response, and the AI flags a section suggesting you elaborate on a specific setting and its relation to the fabric strength. That kind of targeted feedback, invaluable.
It's like having a technical expert just fine-tuning your every word.
Okay, on to question number 6. How do you ensure that the braiding machine is maintained and serviced regularly? This seems like a question about, responsibility initiative. It absolutely is. Employers want to know you're proactive in preventing those breakdowns. The guide really emphasizes the importance of mentioning, manufacturer guidelines, maintenance schedules.
So demonstrating you understand the importance of, preventative maintenance is key here.
Exactly. Mentioning specific tasks like lubricating moving parts, replacing worn components, that shows you're familiar with those hands-on aspects of maintenance.
And this might be a good opportunity to circle back to those safety protocols we talked about earlier, showing that you prioritize a safe and, well-maintained work environment. Never a bad thing.
Absolutely. Safety and efficiency hand in hand. Now imagine using RoleCatcher to practice your response to this question, right? The AI might suggest you add a sentence, just a sentence, about how regular maintenance not only prevents downtime, but also ensures that consistent product quality. It's those subtle connections that can really elevate your answer.
It's all about connecting the dots for them, right? Okay, on to question number 7. How do you stay up to date with new developments in braiding textile manufacturing?
This is where you showcase your passion for the field. Interviewers, they want to see that you're curious, eager to learn, and committed to staying, ahead of the curve.
Because it's a rapidly evolving industry, right? With new technologies just popping up all the time.
Exactly. The interview guide suggests mentioning industry publications, conferences, workshops, but don't just, rattle off a list. Share something specific that you've learned recently that excites you.
Like, I was recently reading about advancements in 3D braiding techniques, and I'm fascinated by the potential applications in, say, aerospace engineering.
Exactly. Show them you're not just keeping up, you're actively seeking out that new knowledge. Now imagine using RoleCatcher to fine-tune that response rate.
Yeah.
You type in your initial answer and the AI suggests you link those 3D braiding advancements to the company's recent projects in aerospace, demonstrating you've done your research and you're genuinely interested in their work. That's next level interview prep.
It's all about those, strategic connections. Okay, let's move on to question number 8. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex problem with a braiding machine? This feels like a classic tell me about a time question.
It is, and it's your chance to shine. Tell a compelling story that showcases those problem-solving skills in action.
Our interview guide emphasizes the importance of using the STAR method for these types of questions. Situation, task, action, result.
Exactly. Set the scene, describe the problem, explain the steps you took to, diagnose and resolve the issue, and of course, highlight that positive outcome.
And don't be afraid to get a little technical here. Show off your knowledge of the machinery and your ability to, think critically under pressure.
Absolutely. Now, imagine running your story through RoleCatcher's AI. The AI might suggest you elaborate on a specific technical detail or highlight a moment where you demonstrated leadership or initiative. It's like having an interview coach right there, helping you shape your story for maximum impact.
That's so powerful. Okay, on to question number 9. Can you describe a time when you had to train a new team member on braiding textile manufacturing?
This is where you get to showcase your leadership potential and your ability to effectively communicate, sometimes technical information.
Because it's one thing to know how to do something yourself, but it's another skill entirely to be able to teach it to someone else.
Exactly. Highlight your patience, your clear communication style, your ability to break down those complex processes into manageable steps.
Our interview guide suggests talking about how you assess the trainee's understanding and adjust your approach accordingly.
Precisely. It's about meeting them where they're at and tailoring your teaching style to their needs. Now, let's say you're using RoleCatcher to practice this response. You describe a time you trained a new team member, and the AI suggests you mention specific techniques you use to make the training more engaging, like hands-on demonstrations or, say, interactive quizzes. These small details, they can make a big difference.
They paint a picture of you as a thoughtful and effective trainer. Okay, ready for question number 10. This one focuses on teamwork and leadership. How do you ensure that your team meets production targets while maintaining quality standards?
This is a big one. It's about balancing productivity with excellence, which is, let's be honest, crucial in a fast-paced manufacturing environment.
The approach section of our interview guide stresses the importance of highlighting your communication and delegation skills.
Absolutely. Talk about how you set clear expectations, provide support and guidance, and foster that collaborative team environment.
And don't forget to emphasize your commitment to maintaining those high-quality standards.
Precisely. It's not just about meeting deadlines. It's about delivering that exceptional work. Now imagine plugging your response into RoleCatcher, right? The AI might suggest you add a sentence about how you celebrate successes and recognize individual contributions to boost team morale. It's those small touches that showcase your leadership style.
It's all about those nuanced details. Okay, we're making our way through this interview guide like champs. What's next on our list of interview prep essentials?
Question 11 takes a slightly different angle.
Yeah.
Why did you choose a career as a braiding textile technician? Now, some might be drawn to that, technical precision. Others, the creative problem solving.
It's like they're asking, tell me your origin story,
Right.
but in a way that relates to, this specific field.
Exactly. The guide's insights section, it mentions that authenticity is key here. Share your genuine interest in the field,
Right.
whether it's a lifelong, fascination with textiles or a more recent discovery of the career's potential.
And don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. Did a childhood project spark your love for working with your hands? Have you always been drawn to that behind-the-scenes magic of how things are made?
Oh yeah, those personal touches can make you so much more memorable. Now, let's say you're using RoleCatcher to refine this response. You've typed in your initial answer, and the AI picks up on a keyword, suggesting you link your love for problem solving to the company's emphasis on innovation. It's those subtle connections that can make your answer truly stand out.
It's like having a personal branding expert on your team. Okay, ready for question 12? This one feels like a bit of a curveball. What are your salary expectations for this role? It's that dance we all have to do in interviews, right?
It is a necessary dance, and the key is to lead with confidence, right, and knowledge. The guy emphasizes, the importance of researching salary ranges beforehand. Websites like Glassdoor, Salary.com, those can be your best friend here.
Knowing your worth. But how do you even approach that conversation without sounding like demanding or inflexible?
The approach section, it suggests providing a range rather than a specific number.
Okay.
And be prepared to explain how you arrived at that range, factoring in, your experience level, the job requirements.
It shows you've done your homework and you're approaching this conversation strategically. Now, I imagine RoleCatcher can't give you a magic salary number, but could its AI help you in other ways with this question?
Absolutely. Let's say you've practiced your response and the AI detects this hesitant tone. It might suggest that you adjust your phrasing to sound more, confident, assertive. Remember, how you say it can be just as important as what you say.
Confidence is key. Okay, on to question 13. What are your strengths and weaknesses as a braiding textile technician? This one always feels like a balancing act.
It is a balancing act, but it's also an opportunity to showcase self-awareness. For strengths, highlight those that directly align with that job description. Are you a whiz with machinery? Do you have meticulous attention to detail?
And the guide reminds us to always back up our claims with specific examples.
Exactly. Now, for weaknesses, choose something you're actively working on improving. The key is to frame it positively. So instead of saying, I'm not great at time management, you could say, I'm working on improving my time management skills by utilizing project management tools.
It shows you're proactive and committed to growth. Now, could RoleCatcher help someone, refine their approach to this question?
Absolutely. Imagine typing in a weakness and the AI suggests some more, positive spin or even recommends resources for developing that skill. That's the kind of personalized support RoleCatcher offers.
It's like having a career coach and a cheerleader, all rolled into one. Okay, let's tackle question 14. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
The classic future you question. This is about ambition, but also showing how this role fits into your long-term goals.
It's about connecting the dots for them.
Precisely. The interview guide suggests aligning your aspirations with, the company's growth. Have they mentioned, expanding into new markets, investing in cutting-edge technologies?
It shows you've done your research and you're thinking about how you can contribute to their success.
Exactly. Now, imagine using RoleCatcher to fine-tune your response. You've mentioned a desire to specialize in a certain type of braiding, and the AI suggests you link that aspiration to the company's recent investment in that technology. Those subtle but powerful connections, they can make a lasting impression.
It's all about strategic positioning. Okay, on to question 15. Why are you interested in working for our company specifically? This feels like another one where research is key.
It's research meets genuine interest. Don't just, parrot their website back to them. Dig deeper. What specifically excites you about their work, their company culture, their commitment to, let's say, sustainability?
The approach section of the guide suggests looking for those points of alignment, between your values and the company's values.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to, geek out a little. Did their recent project in sustainable textiles make you go, wow, I want to be a part of that? Let that passion shine through.
Authenticity is key. Now, I'm curious, how do you think RoleCatcher's AI could help someone prepare for this specific question?
Imagine inputting your answer and having the AI scan for keywords related to, the company's mission, values, and even their recent projects, right? It could suggest you weave those keywords into your response to demonstrate, a deeper understanding and alignment.
Talk about impressing those hiring managers. It's like having an insider's guide to the company. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but we've got just a few more questions left in our interview guide. Are you ready for the final sprint?
Absolutely. Let's help these aspiring braiding textile technicians seal the deal.
That's a wrap. But before we sign off, we want to leave you with one last piece of advice, and it's a big one. Believe in yourself. You've got the skills, the knowledge, and with the insights from this deep dive and the power of RoleCatcher at your fingertips, you're well on your way to acing that interview and weaving your own success story.
And remember, the journey doesn't end with the interview. Stay curious, keep learning, and never stop exploring the endless possibilities within, the world of textiles.
Until next time, keep those resumes polished, those interview skills sharp, and those career aspirations soaring.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more career-boosting insights.